been blocked both for private and public colleges. This is in the UNC case and in the Harvard case. We thought there may be a split where they might say that it's unconstitutional for public universities taking public money, but perhaps not for private. But they've said in both cases, college admissions cannot consider race as they try to diversify their student bodies. Now, this is overturning a 2003 opinion by then Justice Sotomayor, who said at that time, we hope in 25 years we won't have to look at race as a consideration in college, but that's just not the makeup of our country right now. Well, it's been 20 years, and these justices have said that the court, according to this opinion today, that they think that race should no longer be a consideration as colleges try to diversify. Going back to oral arguments, we heard then from Chief Justice Roberts saying, look, he basically saw it as being more racist in violation of Title 14 to look at race in considering who should be admitted to college. Harvard tried to argue this is just like trying to get an oboe player on our orchestra. We would look out for oboe players just like we would look at race and trying to diversify our student body. At the time, Chief Justice Roberts said no, because we didn't have a civil war over oboe players and we did over race. This will, of course, have historic impacts going forward as colleges try to diversify their student bodies, looking at other things like geographical factors, poverty, any adversity that students have overcome, but they can no longer look at race. It's something that's already happening in 8 states across the country. For example, in the public education system, the public system in California, they cannot look at race there. A lot of colleges have said it's been increasingly hard to keep their student bodies racially diverse. Hard to underestimate how big of a decision this is coming from the Supreme Court today. It may not be surprising given the composition of the court, but it will have long and lasting impacts on how colleges around the country diversify the.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that don't know, we have some breaking news out of the Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court has now voted to struck down affirmative action in colleges. What does this mean is that now they're no longer is focusing on what race a person is to entering college, or they won't even worry about discrimination if you want to get into colleges. Because I noticed, I think a couple years back, there are a lot of other students, white students, as filing lawsuits or using affirmative action to get in schools, and other race as well. But now it's showing you that basically now they're not even look at, it's not just for universities, but for jobs as well. It's not looking at affirmative action to say, okay, you've been discriminated against because you're black, and we're going to go ahead and bring you in because of affirmative action. So now the U.S. Supreme Court had decided to, struck that down, as you can tell, and this is basically historic. It's historic. So now they're not going to even look at race to get in schools now. They're not going to even look because you're black, we're going to let you in. This is going to be probably like a fair and balanced thing. Like, okay, we're going to look at your SATs or your ACTs to get in schools, and not look because you're black that we're going to go ahead and get you in there. But for black Americans, since they're doing that, more than likely going to HBCUs more. I think that's what's going to happen. Then I even look at major universities, and a lot of people are going to say, well, what about the athletes for scholarships? What about the college scholarships for like all the athletes and everything? Well, this is going to be even more interesting because now you got black athletes who are talented that could go to like University of Alabama or go to Florida State or major colleges. Could say, well, I want to go to a HBCU and not worry about. So basically, it will affect a lot of stuff in the future because of the Supreme Court's decision. So if you just join us, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news that the U.S. Supreme Court has struck down affirmative action in colleges and also in the workplace So y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next video. This is Lions Den signing off. Deuces.